Dave here at Eden Valley Farms. We're going to do a little video today on what makes food shelf stable. There's a lot of myths and some truths out in the industry. We're going to educate you guys. I got Brandon here. He's going to go through some of the things about what the three or four main things to look for and what makes your food shelf stable or not.
Yeah, here. All right. So a couple of things. Looking years and years ago, I started this company in 2011, and I had a lot of problems. And I bought all this food, woke up, started seeing things weren't quite so good. 2007, went and started getting a bunch of food, getting prepared for my family. And in 2011, I go down to my dark, cold cellar in the basement, and I have all this food that's spoiled and fragile. And if you look here, this isn't looking so good. We're not going to show you what the brand or what the manufacturer is, because that's not our MO. It's not to tell people about their crappy food. Or I mean, we tell them personally about their crappy food, but it's not our job to make them necessarily look bad, this specific company, to make ours look better. We're just showing you as a consumer, because food's expensive and dried food's very expensive, and so we're trying to educate you guys so you know what to look for when you're spending your hard-earned money on food. So first thing you're going to look for in shelf stability, we're talking about shelf stable food items, okay? And number one is moisture water content. Now the ceiling, the absolute, is 8%. Moisture water content. If it's over 8%, it's not shelf stable food. Most of the companies out there, which most of these companies get their food from the same place, they're marketers. That's what they do, is they market and they sell, and they have one of these other companies make food for them, and that's fine. But it's just they don't know the criteria. They're not food scientists, they're not nutritionists, they don't know what the criteria is. So the first criteria is moisture water content, 8%. Has to be less than that. Now, everything that we do is less than 5.56. The highest moisture water content that we have is our celery. Celery obviously has a lot of water, and so to dry it, about 5.56. But if you look at this label, and there's a few things highlighted on here, and this company is actually out of business now, but if you look at this label, you're going to see soy flour. That soy flour typically is 20 to 23% moisture water content. Soybean oil only goes rancid. 24, 36 months. It's going to go rancid. They're also putting water. Ham TVP in there, which is soy and all kinds of problems with that. But why in the world would you put water in your dried food? Freeze-dried, dehydrated, air-dried, spray-dried, micro-dried, dehydrated. These are all terms that you're going to use to take the moisture water content out of the food so it will store. And it's not working. Same thing with this. You can see why this is all exploded and everything. Big problems is the cake flour, the soybean oil, and whole eggs. There's not a food scientist on the planet that will give whole eggs longer than a 24-month shelf life in nitrogen. So that's a problem. And if people would just read the ingredients and they can see what's going on in the food, then it's self-explanatory, right? Truth is self-evident, I think Jefferson said. So it's kind of self-evident. Ask yourself the simple question. Here's another company here. We can zoom in on this. Okay, this is one of the manufacturers. They actually make food for probably 50% of the food industry. This cheap Mylar bag here. They call it Mylar. It's actually foil. I'll show you some things about that here in a minute. Partially hydrogenated soybean oil. Not going to work. Then you got all your yellow 5s and 6s and all your colors and your lakes. These things have been known, ADHD, cancer, you name it. They're linked to all kinds of stuff. There's some more partially hydrogenated soybean oil.
Hydrolyzed yeast, MSG.
Sunflower oil. And it says right in here that these things are added to prevent caking. Well, why are they caking? Because the ingredients in the food were never shelf-stable ingredients to start with. When you call these companies to say, hey, I want some dried food, I want freeze-dried food, I want dehydrated food, I want whatever food, there's a muster test. Like they say, hey, what's the criteria? What are you using it for? And obviously stuff gets expensive. Price per pound goes up. And so you're looking at it saying, okay, well, the application is going to be food storage or shelf-stable food. They're not even using food to go in the can or the bucket that's shelf-stable to start with. And so it's kind of an illusion, because the public thinks, well, if my food's in a bucket or if my food's in a can, then it's food storage. And that's not necessarily the case, as you're going to see as we show you this video. So there's a bunch of problems with ingredients and certain things you look for. You know, if you come over to like here, here's some Eden Valley Farms chili mat. Okay, we'll just come pull this off. You read the ingredient label here. You can pronounce everything on this label. This is all real food. It's all meets the specs of moisture, water content, fat and oil content, and then obviously the last one is oxygen. You have to get the oxygen removed. The best way to do that is to spell it with nitrogen, and you can use oxy packets, which is what a lot of people do, but it's the best way to do it is nitrogen. We also have a liquid nitrogen flusher that we use. So everything is bagged. So I point this out to several food, because this is like the food storage mecca out here. You know, everybody, the food's kind of being all made out here in Utah, and so I point this out to several of these people, and they don't care. So if we're looking at like bags, where I'll show you something. So here's our bags. We use a poly mylar. Hold on, let me grab a flashlight here. So we use a poly mylar bag. It's stretchy. It's 5.5 mil. It's got a real heavy duty zip seal on the top. I mean, you could take the food and float it in a lake for a month and go pull it out and still cook it. It's that good of a bag. Now, they're kind of expensive. Most people aren't going to want to pay. Like, where you look at this is a foil. Here's what happens. See that? Look at this. It's because the seams just come right out of them. There's no oxy packet in this. There's no nitrogen. They're selling it as food storage with no oxy packet or nitrogen. So here's what I did. I showed these guys this. Well, it's a little darker over here. So we'll check this out. I don't know what happened there. The light turned on. Okay, so LED light. Here we go. I'll take the light. I'll place it right behind the bag. Zero UV, zero light. You can't see any of it coming through at all. Okay? Well, all the light comes through. Shines right through. And that's a problem with using cheap foil bags that have UV in them, is they don't work. You gotta have all the light and all the UV off your food. Again, back to what we were talking about. Moisture water content, less than 8%. And moisture water's gotta come out. Fat and oil content, hydrogenated oils, soybean oils, canola oils, safflower oils, these types of oils. The only oils that are shelf stable are your coconut oils and your palm oils. So if we come to an item, say like baked potato soup, and we look on here, dairy products are also not very stable. So if you come here and you look at this, and you'll notice on there that you'll say, reading through the label, Green Bell's chicken, where's it at? I'm looking for the, oh, we don't have it in this one. I'm gonna grab it. All right, oh, it's because it's a white bean lime chili. In the wrong box. Bamboozled. Non-dairy creamer. So it's not dairy. And non-dairy creamer typically use hydrogenated soybean, canola oil, those types of oils. Palm oil. Palm oil has a 15-year shelf life standalone. Coconut oil is basically the same thing, 15-year shelf life. They're tropical oils. Olive oil has a real long shelf life too. You can use olive oil powders and stuff like that, but they're also expensive. So get rid of the dairy products, whole egg products, all those things, and use palm oil. It's a little more expensive way to do it, but if you want your food to be good and taste good, that's what you got to do. So here's some products. This is our first generation. This is the first stuff I packaged in 2011 in the black bag. This stuff has been opened and hauled to trade shows. No more nitrogen left in it. Exposed to the oxygen, exposed to the elements. Mango habanero chili. Give it the smell test. Smell that, Dave. Still smell good?
Yep.
How about that one? Still smells good. You can look in there and see. You can still see the quality of beans.
It even still looks good.
Still looks good. You can still see the spices. The quality of beans is still there. Still tastes good. We still take it to trade shows, and we still have people that dip in there and eat it like trail mix. But this has been open since 2011. So, what are we now? 6 years?
6 years later.
6 years later, it's still good. So, that's how you know, and that doesn't even have any nitrogen in it. So, number one thing, moisture water content, less than 8%. We talked about that. Number two thing, get rid of the fats and the oils and the chemicals and the artificials and you name it, all the bad stuff. If you can't pronounce it, don't eat it. Third thing is getting rid of the oxygen. We have a liquid nitrogen machine that takes the nitrogen. What we're breathing right now is what? 80% nitro, 20% oxygen, roughly. Could be 19, could be 21, just depends, but that's basically what the deal is. So if we take and we flush a bag with nitrogen and liquid nitrogen, and we have the bag on the line, that's why you see the bag's kind of puffed up, right? You take the bag, put the nitro flusher in there, blow the bag up, nitrogen heavier than oxygen, blows all the oxygen out, you seal it up. And the nitrogen that we have is going from a liquid to a gas. So we can end up getting our oxygen contents down to about 0.7 to 1.2. It's phenomenal. Anything less than 3% is fantastic. So that's another thing that you should look for. There's a lot of companies in the industry that they say, oh, well, we're nitrogen packed, we're nitrogen flush. I've been to these factories, I've been to the manufacturing facilities where the people who are making the food for these companies that represent that on the bag and the buckets and those type of things, the guy packaging the food has no nitrogen flusher. He doesn't even own one, doesn't know what it looks like, never paid the money to get one. So it's kind of a problem. And again, not naming any names, just saying, pointing some of these things out. We're a food manufacturer. And the reason why I'm manufacturing this food is because I spent my money on junk like that. And I don't want to do that. Nobody wants to go down to their cellar or their basement or anything. Oh, it's a crisis. Oh, the freaking dollar's melting down. Oh, there's an earthquake, an EMP, whatever the heck's coming. Something's coming. And when it comes, you're going to go down to your cellar. You're going to have a bunch of rancid monkey chow sitting in your buckets and your cans in your basement. And you're going to be pretty upset. I don't know if there's anyone you're going to call in that situation to get that problem remedied or fixed, but I wish you good luck with that. So anyways, Brandon, Eden Valley Farms, I'm signing out.